Hello viewers, today we are going to be looking at Hearthstone Deck Tracker and Firestone. It is 2024 and we're going to take a look at both of these products and see which one is better in the current meta and the current landscape of the game. I pretty much only play Standard and Wild. I do not play a lot of the other modes, so I will only briefly touch upon those features, but I'll give you an in-depth look at all of the different features that both products offer, and let's get right into it. So first off, let's start with Hearthstone Deck Tracker. So you can see this is Hearthstone Deck Tracker. It hasn't changed much over the past 8 or 9 years. It's really simple. You have all the decks that you're playing. You can import decks. You can export decks to the web. You can look up the stats in different formats to see how the decks do. I think that is one of the most important parts of the deck. You can track your win rate with various versions of the deck against different ranks on the ladder. You can filter it by season. In terms of that function, I think that's where Hearthstone Deck Tracker is very strong, and in many cases better than Firestone. It's got a pretty simple interface. One thing that I think it does, which I think is better than Firestone, is when you replace a card in the deck or a couple cards, you're just really updating the version of the deck. So you can go to version 1.0 or 1.1 where you got 1 or 2 cards difference to compare how those changes are helping you out. And of course, there's all the different modes that you can also track your runs in, okay? Albeit some of those are no longer playable. It also has a in-game deck tracker that I'll show you. But pretty much that is all I use Hearthstone Deck Tracker for. And I actually don't even use it for its in-game deck tracker. On the other hand, we have Firestone. So I press Alt-C here, and it pulls up the Firestone window, which pops up directly as an overlay on the game window. This is one feature that is such a simple quality of life feature, but I think it makes it significantly better than Hearthstone Deck Tracker, in my opinion. Because for Deck Tracker, I got to press Alt-Tab. I got to go here, and there, I can sort for the info, which is not hard at all, right? Like, obviously, that's an easy thing. But pressing Alt-C, like being in game and pressing Alt-C or to bring it, to make it disappear or come back is pretty cool. And Firestone, I don't want you to confuse Firestone, the app, with Donkey.hs or whatever Donkey's metadata stat site is. They're not the same thing. Donkey has some type of API or something, or some way of getting deck win rates and info from both Firestone and Hearthstone Deck Tracker, and that's supposedly how he uses to create his his searchable top decks. Firestone is just the tracker itself. It's just the tool as which all these deck information and stats are loaded and saved to the cloud. Now, it has a ton of different features. So, and it's really just robust, right? So obviously you can construct it, you can pull constructed, you can look at all the decks you've played, your last 20 replays, and it has, these watchable replays, which are like kind of just like replays of the game without the animations, and it's just showing the cards and stuff, which is pretty cool. But I want you to know that Hearthstone Deck Tracker also has this feature, but their feature is tied into HS replays. And we'll talk more about that later, okay? So you can also look at meta decks if you can click here. And this is, I believe this is very similar to what you'll find on Donkey.hs, but you'll be able to sort by different classes. You can clear it all, right? If I clear everything here, I reset everything, apply all archetypes, and let's say I want to choose at least 1,000 game spread, and I'm looking at standard decks, and let's say only legend, okay? Then it'll filter out deck rates. I can sort it by win rate, and boom, I can find out what the top played decks are here, right? It's sorted by class, archetype, what have you not. Pretty cool. And you can see how much dust you need to craft the deck. Right here, I'm missing one. If I click on this, I'm missing one card to create the deck, and it shows you the deck, how many cards are in it. You can view the stats by going to the Donkey website, or I can copy the deck to go directly into Hearthstone. So I copy it, press Alt-C, go to my collection, and then I'll be able to place it into the, right there. It's copied to my clipboard. So boom, there you go. Automatically new deck, new good deck put in there. I'm missing Sargeras the Destroyer, but whatever, right? So anyway, pretty cool feature. Hearthstone Deck Tracker has the same feature. Oh, export from to Hearthstone. There you go. And then when I come here, I'll be able to post the deck, right? So same thing. You know, both deck trackers are able to do that. You know, it's just a matter of which one has interface that you like better. So we'll cancel that. Let's cancel this other deck here. All right, now let's get into a couple other things here. It has a Battlegrounds feature where it shows a tier list of decks and champions and which ones are placing well. You can filter through that. I don't play Battlegrounds. I don't play duels. So I'm not going to really talk much about that. It also has an arena tier list and stats about what cards are played well, which I think is pretty cool. But even for arena, I don't use this. I use Hearth Arena. And Tavern Brawl. I think this is something that is really cool. Every day, this thing gets updated so you can see which classes are doing best in Tavern Brawl. And you can click on it and it'll copy a deck list so that when I go to Tavern Brawl, I can edit the deck and then I'll just copy the one from my clipboard and it throws in the most popular deck that's got a good win rate for whatever class you choose. And this works for Tavern Brawl every week, as long as it's a deck creation kind of brawl. This is a paid feature. I don't think that Hearthstone Deck Tracker has that feature, so this is one feature where I think Firestone does have an advantage, and I find it very helpful. There's mercenaries. I don't know how this works. Replays, both Hearthstone Deck Tracker and Firestone have that. There's achievements, which is, you know, just like achievements in the game. And then there's a collection. And this is one of the most important things, and I think one of the coolest features outside of the actual deck tracking experience, okay? So here, you get to see all the cards you've collected. And this doesn't matter if you had the app when you started playing or not, okay? Like, it will track, it will just go into your collection and pull all the information. So you can see here, I have all the Badlands mini set. I'm missing like one card in Showdown of the Badlands. That's kind of weird. I have Whizbang's Workshop, everything. You know, shows you everything you have, and then it shows you all the cards that I've collected in the past. Pretty cool. Also shows card backs, portraits, coins, and packs. And here's another thing for collectors, which I think is very, very helpful and very cool. It'll show you how many packs you have opened of any type of unique pack, right? So you can see here, you know, I opened like 54 gold ones, or, you know, 82 golden showdown packs, whatever it may be, 891 classic packs over the course of the lifetime, 337 of whatever this one, Goblin versus Gnomes, tons of stuff, right? So it's a ton of info. And, you know, I did not start using this app till a month and a half, 2 months ago. All right. So all this information is pulled from the cloud somewhere. Now, cool feature is if you hover over a thing, it will tell you when you will reach your next epic and when you will reach your next legendary. So I think that's a really cool feature. Obviously, sometimes it's wrong. For instance, like here, I know for a fact that after 3 packs, I hit my legendary timer. Oh, actually, it reset the timer. So yeah, no, these are actually correct too. So, oh, actually, no, these are not correct, but this should actually be 1 in 40 packs. But I think I can change that by resetting the timer. But anyway, I won't go through that. I just think this is a feature that is very worthwhile. I'm comfortable paying for it. I think that's, you know, a helpful type of information, and we haven't even gone into the game. And with that said, let's jump straight into the games. So let's just queue up a standard game. You'll notice here, this thing that says Mulligan Guide Ready, that's a Hearthstone Deck Tracker feature. It is one feature that I really, really like about Hearthstone Deck Tracker. Now, let me talk a little bit about Mulligan, right? Mulligan is probably one of the most important phases in the game of Hearthstone, and Mulligan information is pretty important. Hearthstone Deck Tracker, its Mulligan information is pulled from HS Replays. So let me pull up HS Replay here. We're going to go to a deck. I'll just pick a random deck, okay? We'll pick Spell Token Hunter, the first deck, Mulligan, Diamond through Legend, both, right? So Diamond through Legend, this is the Mulligan, 62% for Sneaky Sakes, Ziliax trending pretty well. All these cards here, the first 6 or 7 cards, these are kind of cards you're happy to keep in the Mulligan, okay? Depending, right? In general. Now, if you chose on the coin or going first, some of those things will change a bit. And if you chose Legend or a lower rank or a higher rank or whatever, the Mulligan will change pretty distinctly, right? Same thing if you chose it for versus one deck or versus another class, right? Now, I want you to keep that in mind, because if you're playing the game, after time and after looking at some stats and whatnot, you'll come to the conclusion that, okay, this Sneaky Snakes, this is a card that I want in these certain matchups, but it's not a card that I want against so and so and so. That you can only get that through playing. Now, when you queue up a game, you'll see how each of these deck trackers provide the info, all right? And I want to show you both sets of info. Let's close Firestone so we can just look only at the Hearthstone Deck Tracker for a minute. We'll explain its Mulligan and UI interface, and then we'll look at the Firestone version, okay? Hearthstone Deck Tracker's version is very clean. That's something that I really like about it. It's a very clean interface. It's very simple. And if that's all you want, like a bare bones tracker, you can't go wrong with Hearthstone Deck Tracker. So here, I'll play Naga Demon Shopper. It says Mulligan Guide available. So when I get into a game, it's going to show me Mulligan information. So you'll see that here. Okay, so 2 things I want you to look at here. By default. Okay, couple things. So on the left, you'll see that it has arranged the cards in the order of the power of getting this card in the Mulligan. Also, it tells you down here that these are the Mulligan stats versus Priest on the coin. And if I click that, it'll show you more information. So here it shows you Mulligan win rate, the keep rate, and hard rank of how well this card is in the hand. So this is the best kept card in the hand, and this is the 6th and 7th best kept cards in the hand. I'm going to throw both of those back. I like having a 1-drop, but having this is, you know what? Actually, we can keep the 1-drop. We'll keep that versus Priest, and we'll take that. While that goes on, I'm going to go, I clicked on the HS Replay button. So if I go here, it shows me what it's giving me, and it's giving me the information through Diamond through Legend. So that Mulligan information was only for Mulligan information through Diamond. If I click Diamond through Legend, I would see slightly different suggestions. And if I click Legend, there's a chance that the information could have been way different, right? So, and I think that is a pretty important fact to consider. One quality of life that I wish that both Firestone as well as Hearthstone Deck Tracker would do would be to let me choose where it pulls the Mulligan data suggestions from. Neither of the deck trackers do that. I think that would be a key change that I'd be looking for. If you see here, you'll see all the cards on my deck, cards that are in my hand or no longer in the deck, in my hand or on the field. They're just removed from what's left in this deck list. So you can see I'm playing 2 instrument techs. They're blurred out here because they're gone. Of course, I played 2 Vicious Slither Spears, and you see here there's only 1 copy left of my deck. All right, so pretty interesting set of tools here. Shows you how many cards I have in hand, how many cards left in my deck, the percentage of drawing a specific card, and the percentage of drawing the specific card if I had 2 copies. This thing, the drawing chance, that is not a feature that that Firestone has. Firestone shows you all that other information, but it does not show you this. Also, right here, you see the number 4. This is the attack power that I currently have on board. And this is a very, very helpful cheat because, you know, oftentimes we forget how much damage we have on board and whether or not we have the ability to find lethal. And this is a good way to remind yourself of what's there. We'll just try to play through this game relatively quickly.
All right on it.
Okay, so you see after the game's info is added here, added to the replay. Pretty cool. The interface is pretty clean. Now, let's see it through Firestone, okay? That is pretty much Hearthstone Deck Tracker. It's pretty clean. Like I said, there are things I like about it. The Mulligan Guide notification, I think that's really cool because there are some decks that obviously won't have a Mulligan Guide for it. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. The good thing, too, is that because it pulls from Hearthstone Replay, a lot of the decks have data. These don't, apparently, but a lot of the decks out there do have data. So keep that in mind. And that tends to be less the case with Firestone. But Firestone still does have a lot of data and still has a lot of good things. You saw how the Mulligan information looked on Hearthstone Deck Tracker. So let me boot up Firestone and let's see how it looks there, okay? So one moment here, we got Firestone up and running. We're gonna play Naga Shopper, the same deck, and let me close the Hearthstone Deck Tracker. Close all this extra stuff that's popping up on my screen. Okay. So this is Firestone's interface. You can see that the design is a little different. You can change the scale. In Hearthstone Deck Tracker, the info was on the bottom. You see Firestone, all the info is at the top of the list. Okay, so here you see the Mulligan information. Now, if you look on the right side, the deck is arranged by mana cost and not by Mulligan priority. However, there's info on the top of the cards, impact and kept, telling you how often a card is kept in a Mulligan, and its impact when you have it in your opening hand. And, you know, negative number being bad, positive number being good. And you see right here, there's this bar graph. If you hover over one of the bars, it'll tell you the card and its impact in the game. So Burning Heart sucks, negative 20. On the other hand, Umpire's Grasp and Instrument Tech are very good. So even though I have a 1-drop, I'm challenging Hunter. I actually will probably keep the Miracle Salesman, but I'm going to drop everything else because I do want Blind Eye. It's going to be good here. And you can see that here it's pulling from Standard, Diamond through Legend versus all classes. And there's only 413 games total in its pool. Quite personally, I think Aegis Replay gives me much more information, like in terms of that type of data. But, you know, I find the interface in general of Firestone to be just much, much better. So here you see a number of things. First of all, you see how much damage both you have on the board as well as your opponent has on the board. Now, you can also see cards in your opponent's hand, card that he mulligan, cards on at what time he or what turn he drew these other cards. So these two cards, 0-0, they were in his opening's hand. And this was the first card he drew, right? So we're going to close that. We'll take a look. You'll notice that there's this number 1 on top of my Miracle Salesman. That means he is the first creature I dropped on the board. And that is pretty relevant, okay? And I'll show you in a bit. Let's just attack first. Okay. Now I play the Greedy Partner. Okay, well, you won't see it here, but okay, so now we have a 1. If I were to play a second creature, it'll have a 2 above him. And this is very, very helpful for tracking what units will die on a board clear in what order. So to keep track of the death rattle. It is very, very important and it's very helpful. Another feature is, and I don't know what I want to call it. I guess we can call it, I don't know, some pseudo type of learning thing. If I hover over a card with an effect that is predicated on something happening in my deck, it'll highlight the cards that are important to that. For instance, if I look at Partial Desperado, Battlecry, if you're casting a spell, you get +3 attack this turn. Look on the right side of the deck, you'll see all the cards highlighted that are spells that activate this Battlecry ability. Okay? It also has the secret tracker, but this is something that Hearthstone Deck Tracker also has. So that's really, that's not that big of a deal. Okay, we're going to do this. We're just going to play it. Hit him in the face. And this tracks everything. Like if you are playing, what is that guy called? If you're playing Zarimi, it'll tell you how many dragons you played. If your opponent's playing Zarimi, it'll tell you how many dragons your opponent has played. Any of those effects that are trackable, Firestone has that built into it. I find that to be very, very, very helpful, and I really think the deck tracker is just quite powerful. So keep that in mind. All right, here, this is a situation where I think we just say no. Drop the window shopper. It's 3-mana window shopper. I don't like any of these. Kind of want to take the amalgam, but having attack is pretty nice, so maybe we'll just play this one out. And we'll take Observer of Mysteries because it's goated, and take this. So we'll try to finish this game off as quick as we can. So very cool. Another difference here is you can see it shows you when cards go to your graveyard or into another zone that's not your hand or your deck. And I think that is absolutely very, very helpful. Very cool feature here. I think we just go ham with it, man. Play the... Get this. What is our secret? Summoning Ward, Ice Trap. That's cool. Let's get some attack this turn.
I think.
So, attacking the board, we got 7, 10, 11, 12. I have extra damage in hand, so we will get lethal. I don't see any reason in throwing out my other Nagas, because if I draw a Blind Eye, I'll be in great shape. So we'll just end the turn here. I have secrets up. He has to play around these. That may be quite difficult, right? Oh, okay. He's got some decisions we can make here. Oh, that's a big one. That's, We'll talk about a clear. It's quite the clear. Instrument tech. I think we just played attack and let's go for it.
It's okay.
So here too, like, I guess that's the thing that doesn't show. So he's racing, right? Does he think he can? Do I have lethal? What do I got on board? 4 damage on board. 4, 7, 10. Yeah, okay, is that so?
Really expensive, like something.
So I'm coping that. Yeah, deck's still not too bad, I guess, right? But so anyway, I'm gonna play one more game. We'll do one more game. This time I'm gonna open up both deck trackers so you can compare them side by side. But in my opinion, if it's so hard to decide to pick which one is better. But in my opinion, I think Firestone gives you more stuff. It is like it's got a cleaner interface. It's easier to use. You just press Alt C, and then you get all this info. It's just very helpful. It also does arena stuff, which I think is very helpful. Maybe HS Replays also does arena stuff, but I just find the interface easier to use. One thing I like more about Hearthstone Deck Tracker is this feature, Mulligan Guide Ready. And I think because it pulls from HS Replay, it gives you a source that's easier to follow. However, I do think that in its current iteration, that Firestone provides the better overall Mulligan info, right? Because two things here. Let's move Firestone to the side here so you can see. So Firestone is in the inside and Hearthstone Deck Tracker is in the outside. So you can see here, Hearthstone Deck Tracker is telling me to keep like these cards, and I actually would not keep. What am I challenging Druid? So you can see that Firestone is saying that Umpire's Grasp and Instrument Tech are the best cards in this matchup. I tend to agree. Hearthstone Deck Tracker, on the other hand, is telling me keep the Vicious Slither Spear, and you want Umpire's Grasp, but Instrument Tech is coming all the way down at 64%, which is kind of weird to me. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and keep the Vicious Slither Spear. We do have Instrument Tech as the second best card, so let's try it. But you see how, like, there's this big discrepancy in the info that is provided? Like, to me, it just makes sense. Give me standard to legend or diamond to legend info, because even if I'm at gold or silver or platinum, I'm going to want to pull from that info. Now, comparing the UIs, you can see here, like, there's this UI on the right side, which is the deck tracker, and the one on the left, or in the internal portion, which is the Firestone one. I just give you can make your own kind of qualifications on what those look like. Another feature here, you know how I was talking about how it has like that subliminal like learning type of thing where like when you highlight over cards. So if I highlight over cards in the deck as well, let me do this. Like if I highlight over Window Shopper, it'll show me what cards are associated with Window Shopper, like what else I'll get. So it shows me that I get this mini. If I highlight over Argus, it shows all of Argus's abilities and cards that are related to it. It just does more. It is quite frankly just a better interface all around. So, that's my opinion. Take from it what you will. All the info is the same here. Cards in hand, cards in deck. The only difference is that Hearthstone Deck Tracker gives you this chance to draw type of probability, which may or may not be good, helpful for you, right? So I hope that's been insightful. I'm gonna finish off this game, and if you have any questions, let me know. Quite personally, I use both deck trackers. I think both of them have their pros and cons. Like I said, the biggest change for me for either deck tracker would to have the ability to choose where it pulls the Mulligan information from. I think that would be the hugest boon. And the one that did that better would probably do, I don't want to say it would even be the one that would make the final decision for me, because realistically, I really like the fact that Hearthstone Deck Tracker pulls from HS Replay. I find HS Replay just to be a more reliable source of information for me. And it's just easier to use than Firestone. I think even though Firestone has this interesting UI like this, and where I can look at constructed, I can look at the decks or whatever, I feel, I don't know. Like, I just feel like the HS Replay interface is a bit better. So, do we use it here? I think we'll hold on to this through Felon Flames to see what we pull off of our Window Shopper. You can always play a 5-mana Window Shopper too. I'd even do that here. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to play the 5-mana Window Shopper, actually. Like, Oh, here. So here you see Zarimi. He's playing dragons, so now there's the count on how many dragons are played. So I know my opponent has summoned 2 dragons. He still needs to summon 6 to get to Zarimi. So like there's all these little extra features. It's just so powerful for the deck, or for for a player. So okay, here in this we played a full mana for it. So we'll take Abyssal Basis, drop that to 3, and we're gonna buff this. Clear. There.
You might need to ask about. Go take that. Put out all the end. Go show.
It probably made a lot more sense to keep the 2/2 alive and use this, but then I think that would just fall into a big magic swipe, and I don't want that. So yeah. So there it is, right? Swipe. So here's a swipe. No big deal. I'm assuming he doesn't have the second swipe in hand, or at least he can use the magical abilities off of it. So we're going to play into this. Another big boy. Yeah, Magtheridon, that seems good. We'll play the 6/5 right off the bat because I want to attack next turn. We can always drop this later. We could, might get lucky, get a double mag, which we'll probably be able to clear a lot of boards. So we'll see. It's interesting that this deck is still pretty strong. It's interesting that Naga Demon Hunter, or whatever this is called, Umpire's Graph Demon Hunter, still sees a lot of powerful play here. Okay, we got a lot of Nagas in hand. We're getting closer to that point, so that does make me happy. Not a Magtheridon, I'll take that. I'm gonna play this. There's double mag, and double mag is the game, man. Like,
ready to deny fire. You some fucking hot stress. It's down to
give me more cards. Let's see it. That's it. That's power. Double mag, like, he can clear. It's not going to be enough. This is a tough situation because he has to be above, like. Oh, okay. Well, that's going to help him out quite a bit. So that's not a bad pull. That helps a lot. Oh, we have double mag. I think we're going to go for it. Like,
Throw it away. You could. That's all the this cold go on.
oh, this is a good hair.
It's free, right? So make it aware.
London stuff more actually.
Pretty awesome. Worked out well. So there you go. I hope that's helpful to you. Let me know in the comments what deck trackers you like, how those things are working out for you. And if you like Naga Demon Hunter, you want to learn how to play the deck, check out my guide here. It's a little dated, but the info still works and the deck still works the same. So enjoy.